and take lying, throw in the garbage, and inculcate truthfulness. You will take hatred, throw in the garbage, and inculcate love. You will take asabiya, tribalism, racism, throw in the garbage, and take the embracing of the ummah into your life. Because the Quran is giving it to you this month only. Exclusively this month. Take it in. So what do I want to get? What do I want to lose? And the third thing that you write in your journal, and you follow it, is what do I want to continue post-Ramadan? How many of us have been fasting for many years, decades of Ramadan, but after Ramadan finishes, it's so hard to fast. Even one more day. I want to fast at least once a week after Ramadan. How many of us read a Quran in Ramadan, mashallah, but after Ramadan for the next 11 months, we don't finish half, forget one Quran. How many of us come to the masjid in Ramadan for 3 to 5 prayers, but after Ramadan, if Jummah is there every third week, we're happy? So my question is, our deen isn't about peaks and valleys. We have to stop this. Our deen has to be steady growth. Doesn't matter how slow it takes, but let's grow. Let's not go up and come down. We don't need sugar shocks in our religion. We want steady growth. So what is it that I want to continue from Ramadan? Can I read one page of Quran a week? Can I fast once a month? Can I come to the masjid one more time or 2 more times in the week outside of Jummah or a program? Write down. Make your journal. Write down your aspirations, your intentions, your goals. These are goals right now. Now through the course of Ramadan, check them off. And after Ramadan, by focusing on what you want to continue, I promise you, say inshallah, because you've planned for it, Allah will make it happen. But we're not planning for anything. We're just doing it haphazard. That's what we do it because we do it, and we leave it when we leave it. Number 6. The best time to ask Allah for anything is when? Could anyone tell me? And what do you call that time before Fajr? Tahajjud. Right? The suhoor time, the tahajjud time. Where there's great virtues that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give. I'm hardly on Twitter, but there's a tweet I read of Sheikh which really stuck to me 2 Ramadans ago. He tweeted, he said that if you're not waking up for it, you really don't want it. If you're not waking up for it at night, you really don't want it. Oh, Imam, make dua for my exams. But you don't want to wake up for tahajjud and pray to Allah for it. Oh, make dua for my health. But you don't want to wake up in tahajjud and pray for it. You really don't want it. Because the time a believer knows that they get from Allah is in the time of tahajjud. There is barakah for this ummah in tahajjud. And if we miss the morning at times, we will lose. So now it's easy to say start praying tahajjud. How do I do that? That's hard, right? It's hard. Come on, let's be real here. Summertime, tomorrow, Wednesday, is it Wednesday? Fajr is going to go down to 5:45 and 5:15. Like, prayer time is dropping and Fajr starts at 5:10. And I'm accustomed to waking up for work at 6 o'clock. What is 5 o'clock? So this is what we'll do in Ramadan, everyone. Let's plan this. On the first day of Ramadan, you're going to spend 1 minute for tahajjud. So if you woke up for suhoor 30 minutes before Fajr, you're going to brush up, eat your food, wash your dishes, kids help out at home with mom and dad. It's not easy. Clean up, make a wudu, and spend 1 minute for tahajjud. How much everyone? 1 minute. Maybe you can't pray 2 rak'ah in 1 minute, but you just sit there and say, I just want to ask Allah. Make a dua, right? Now, the next day is the second fast. How many minutes are you going to spend? 2 minutes. Right now, you're still getting into the hang of it, right? Okay, today's 1 minute, then 2 minutes. By the 5th fast is how much, brother? 5 minutes, right? Now you can pray 2 rak'ah. You just stand up and pray 2 rak'ah. As every day that passes, you will start increasing it by 1 minute. So inshallah, even in the 30 minutes, if you prayed only 2 rak'ah and made some dhikr and some dua, which is number 7, we're going to get to that, you are now clearing up a space in your life that you're becoming accustomed to making it for Allah. So by the end of Ramadan, you'll be accustomed to having your suhoor. You'll be waking up 1 hour early. You'll have your suhoor, clean up, and give 30 minutes to Allah before Fajr. But start with just 1 minute a day. So the 19th fast is how many minutes, everyone? 19 minutes. 25th fast is how many? Now, Uncle, there's a problem. On the 29th fast, if there's no 30, we don't get 30, do we? So let me tell you about the 30th one. If it's 29th fast and the 30th day is Eid, many people miss Fajr that day. I said 30 minutes, right? Now I'm putting Uncle on the spot. It's going 29 minutes because next day is Eid. You know the Prophet Muhammad said, whoever stands in the nights of the two Eids, their heart will not die the day people's hearts die. On the night before Eid, the night of Eid, the night before the Eid prayer, if you stay awake that night, if you pray Tahajjud and you ask Allah and you pray Fajr, this is a very important time. We get so caught up when we hear from Saudi or somewhere that the moon has been sighted, that we miss the final hours of Ramadan. We break our fast haphazard. The mehendi starts, the chandra starts, the music starts, the party starts. The Maghrib is gone, Isha is gone, and Fajr is gone. So what good did this 30 days do to us? What good did it do? Remember, Ramadan isn't celebrating someone's birth or death. Ramadan isn't celebrating someone's accomplishment or failure. Ramadan is you celebrating on Eid your success. You spent 30 days, you fasted, you prayed, you purified, you bettered your life, you corrected your life. Now Allah is saying, come to me in the morning, pray and celebrate this and go and feast with the people. It's haram to fast on this day. Go and celebrate. Why? You earned it. You earned it. So the 30th, if fast is 29, on the 30th night, which is the night of Eid, we will still stand up and pray, inshallah. And then after Ramadan, if you don't continue 30, I promise you, you'll at least continue 10 minutes. Right? At least 10 minutes, inshallah, because now you made it a cycle. Number 7, dua. Do you know that dua is the most powerful tool that we have, brothers and sisters? Today, dua is a thing that we don't want to talk about. Dua is no longer something that we feel important. The weapon that a believer has is these two hands. When a believer puts these two hands together and asks Allah, you can literally change destiny. There's only one thing that can change destiny, that is dua. So, when do you make dua? What's the best time to make dua? We did our tahajjud, right? The time before Maghrib is the time for dua. I want all of us to do the same thing here. On the first fast, a minute before Maghrib, we will make dua. On the second fast, 2 minutes before Maghrib, we'll make dua. On the 15th fast, 15 minutes before Maghrib, we'll make dua. On the 29th fast, we'll make 29 minutes of dua. If you clear that time out from Maghrib, Asr to Maghrib, it's a time that you and your Allah should be together. The food should be ready. It shouldn't be a problem. It doesn't matter if it gets cold. I am going to turn towards the Qibla and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 8. And mashallah, Sheikh Arsalan will be honoring us with this after Fajr every day with his class, memorizing du'as. What is the dua before eating? What is the dua of sleeping? What is the dua of protection? Beautiful dua Sheikh has prepared for us. That every day we memorize one dua, inshallah. While you're working, so after Fajr, he'll say it, write it down on your phones, or record his voice. And as you're driving to work, you're starting to say it. Bismillahilladhi la yadurru ma ismi. You're saying it. You get to work, you wrote it down on a paper, you're in your office. Bismillahilladhi la yadurru ma ismi shan. You're driving home. Bismillahilladhi la yadurru ma ismi shan fil ardi wa la fis sama wa huwa as-sami'ul 'alim. These things now you're memorizing a dua. Spend your time. Your learning is also ibadah. You're driving to work learning, it's ibadah. You're at work trying to learn this thing, it's ibadah. You're coming home from work, it's ibadah. So memorize at least 30 du'as in Ramadan, inshallah. Put this on your checklist. And the last thing of 9 steps of a wholesome Ramadan is open the Quran, take one verse. How many of one? One verse. Regardless if you know Arabic or not, regardless if you are an Arab or Ajami, whatever. Take one verse, read it, look at it, get the translation, read the translation, understand it, and ponder over it. Ponder. What does ponder mean? Think about it. وقال الرسول يا رب إن قوم اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا. I opened the Quran, I saw this verse. The verse said, the Prophet said that, O my Lord, verily my people, my qawm, my tribe has discarded this Quran. See, Tarjuma translation, just keep on reading because you want to finish a translation. No, stop. You took one verse today. Now you think, why would the Prophet ﷺ say, "O my Lord, my qawm, my people have discarded this Quran. They've abandoned this Quran"? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. He's complaining to Allah. How does he know this? Am I discarding the Quran? Am I even living up to what the Quran wants? This is called ponder, reflection. Take one verse. Open the Quran, take one verse, read it. If you can't read it, look at it. Look at the number. Open the translation online, whatever. Read the translation and reflect only on one verse. Because when we don't think, we will not understand. Allah tells us to do tafakkur and tadabbur, to contemplate and to think. So these are things that we need to do, and we need to start working on it, inshallah. Before I get back to Sheikh Arsalan, many people say, okay, the Taraweeh, this stuff is good. I can't do it. I don't even come for Isha prayer, so how am I going to pray Taraweeh? Your concerns are legitimate. I honor you for saying that. No one should look down on anyone. And one thing I never want to hear from anyone's mouth in the masjid is, oh, Abu Apasai, now you're coming back. Huh? Oh, I don't see you, only see you on Eid, or only see you in Ramadan. Don't say that. A person is making the effort, honor them, welcome them, smile at them. Give them hope that they can continue doing it. So a person who says, I don't want to do Taraweeh because it's not a farad, it's a sunnah, and guess what? I don't even come for Isha anyways. You know what you do? Just come to the masjid in the first week. Even if you don't want to pray, just come to the masjid and go home. Second week, just pray Isha with Jamaat and go home. Third week, pray Isha, pray Sunnah and go home. Fourth week, pray Isha, pray Sunnah, pray 4 to 6 rakat Taraweeh and go home. What's happening here? Taraweeh will finish, but the person connecting to Allah through his house will begin. Won't that begin? It will begin. Something has started. Ramadan isn't perfecting. Ramadan is starting, embracing, and continuing after Ramadan. So let us be a source of hope for people. Let's not put them down. Let's not ridicule them. Let's not look back as people are leaving after the rak'ah. No, they're going. Alhamdulillah, they prayed. Maybe Allah will accept their short prayers, and Allah may not accept my full 20 prayer. So let's not look back at people. Let's not look down on people. Be a source of inspiration. May Allah guide us all towards what's correct. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Sheikh, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. You guys ready? And inshallah, this will be the last session, and we'll do Q&A. Just in case you did not get the phone number the previous time, I'll give it to you one more time. You can send your questions through text to this number. The number is 972-379-7624. At this point, I've already received a bunch of questions, so I don't even know how I'll get to yours, but you can try. Again, it's 972-379-7624. Jazakumullah khair. You can sit down. Alright, I'm not going to say too much about this, but just as a reminder, inshallah, because what happens is there's this trend that starts every year in Ramadan that people talk about Ramadan as if it's the time to become fit. It is the time to lose weight. It is the time to get back into shape. The Prophet ﷺ said, من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan with faith and expecting what? To lose weight? To get back in shape? Expecting reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their past sins will be forgiven. So the choice is ours. What is my motivation to fast in the month of Ramadan? Based on my intention, I will get the return. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ also said, talking about the virtues of fasting in a hadith related by Sahih Muslim, he said, ما من عبد يصوم يوما في سبيل الله إلا باعد الله بذلك اليوم وجهه عن النار 70 خريفا. Hadith in Sahih Muslim. Anybody, any servant who fasts a single day in the path of Allah, Allah will distance his or her face from the fire of hell a distance of 70 years. If you were to travel constantly for 70 years, how much distance would you cover? And he didn't talk about which mode of transportation to use. You'd be very far away from the hellfire. How do you get so far away from the hellfire? Fasting one day. But the condition is fi sabilillah. You have to fast fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah, not for any worldly benefit, including health benefits. Fasting fi sabilillah. If you can do that, if I can do that, the reward is waiting for us. The hadith is in Sahih Muslim. It's not a fabrication, fable, myth, fairy tale, legend. It is a sound, authenticated report. So it is important, brothers and sisters, that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are judged based on their intentions. Let's not lose out on these rewards because we don't have the right intention to fast. Alright? I want to get to some of the questions, inshallah, and then I'll transfer to Imam Azhar to answer the rest of the questions. Since I have the microphone, I'll choose my questions first, inshallah. Alright. Is it fine to hold a translation book of Quran and read from it in my menstruation period, or can I read from my phone? The answer is, there are two things. There are two things that are separate. Make a distinction between two things. One is reciting the Quran with the tongue, and the other is touching or holding the Quran with your skin or with your hands. For a menstruating woman, according to the majority of the scholars, it is not permissible to recite the Quran with the tongue. And it is also not permissible for a menstruating woman to touch a mushaf with the skin. It's not permissible. Now what is permissible for a menstruating woman is to touch plastic. And this is plastic. This is not a mushaf. This is not a mushaf. Okay? The mushaf is in the shelf over there. Okay? So it is permissible to touch plastic. And it is permissible to look at the Quran. It is permissible to read the Quran in your heart without moving the tongue. It is permissible to scan the Quran with the eyes without moving the tongue. Okay? So that's what's permissible. That's what's not permissible. What's also permissible is to touch what is not the Quran. And yesterday Imam Azhar said that there is no such thing as an English Quran or an Urdu Quran or a Bengali Quran. The Quran is in Arabic. So if I touch the meaning of the Quran, the translation of the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran, that's not Quran. So I can touch that, I can hold that. Even a woman during her menses can do that as long as the translation is more than the Arabic original text of the Quran. The second question is, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. If I'm visiting my parents' home in another country where I grew up, am I considered a traveler? The answer is, that's not your home. Unless that's like your summer home, you have two homes, one in the winter, one in the summer, then yes, you have two homes, you're not a traveler there. but you left your parents' home. This is now not your home. This is your parents' home. You have your home, they have their own home. So when you are visiting them, you are a traveler, you are not a resident. Unless you stay there for more than the duration that we talked about, then you become a resident. The next question, the Qasr prayer also has same rule for 50 miles, 14 days as fasting? The answer is yes. The next question, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. If a person is terminally ill and does not have any means of income and the family is going through financial challenges, how is fidya will be paid for terminally ill person? If you are financially incapable of paying fidya, the responsibility is lifted from you. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not place a burden on a soul more than it can bear. The next question, the day one comes back home from travel, is he or she considered a traveler for that day? The answer is no. Once you return back home, the moment you arrive home, now you are a resident. Okay? So you are now considered a resident for the rest of the day. But if you arrive back home in the middle of the day of Ramadan, you don't have to fast for the rest of the day. Because you didn't start out the day fasting and you had the option not to do that because you were a traveler. But the prayers, you're going to pray full now because now you're back home, you're not a traveler anymore, you're a resident. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. If you make up a fast for a dead person, does it count on your behalf and the dead person's behalf, or just the dead person's behalf? It's not buy one, get two free. Okay? If you're fasting on behalf of a dead person, it counts for them. You need to make up your own fast on a separate day. You can't make up your fast and fast on behalf of the dead person on one day. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. If a mom is nursing her baby and she doesn't have a lot of milk to begin with, can she not fast if her fear is that she will lose or lessen her milk significantly, which will in turn affect the baby? The answer is yes. She can choose not to fast because she's afraid for the health of the baby. She has the option not to fast in this case, and she will have to make up the fast at a later time. Now, according to the Shafi'i school, she also has to pay fidya in this case. But according to the Hanafi school, she does not pay fidya. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. This is a good question. I'll tell you why it's a good question. Because it's an embarrassing question, but there's no haya in learning your deen. So I'm glad that this person asked. I know a lot of people have this question, but they don't ask because they're shy. But in these kinds of situations, we need to ask these questions. The question is, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. If madhi or fluid which is not money comes out just by looking at a girl or talking to your fiance or wife or coworker or watching a movie or listening to songs or by natural, does it break the fast? The answer is no, it does not break the fast. The release of madhi, which is called pre-seminal fluid in the English language, pre-seminal fluid, the release of madhi does not break the fast, regardless of whether it happened due to a deliberate act or beyond your control. What breaks the fast is the release of mani, which is sexual fluid or sperm, if it happens due to a deliberate act by the person. And Allah knows best. The next question, can we hang decorations up in Ramadan? I don't see why not. Is a haircut permissible during fasting? Yes, it is. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Normally we donate through credit card, then pay the credit card off in the next month. My question is, if the credit card payment doesn't happen within the Ramadan days, do we get the same reward as paying cash? Jazakallah. Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best. But my personal opinion on this matter, I have thought about this before. I have also discussed this with some of my friends. And Allah knows best, but my personal assessment about this, after thinking about this for some time, is that it does count. Okay? The credit card company is making the payment on your behalf as long as your credit card is charged in the month of Ramadan. That donation counts as if it went out on Ramadan. The fact that you are going to make the credit card payment next month doesn't mean that you're donating next month. The donation went out on your behalf in the month of Ramadan. Now you have a debt. You went into debt in the month of Ramadan. You went into debt in the month of Ramadan, and you will pay off that debt without any late fees or interest charges before the due date on the next month. So it does count as a donation given within the month of Ramadan. I'll stop here. I'll give it to Imam Azhar to see if he has other questions that he wants to answer or anything else he wants to say.
Sure. Mashallah, a lot of good questions here, alhamdulillah. So, how long do we have to wait after Fajr begins? According to the Masjid calendar, well, if Fajr begins at 5:11, then Fajr has begun at 5:11. You could pray at 5:11, 5:12, inshallah. Number 2, we got that question covered. Just to clarify, if the moon is not sighted on the first day, the day it's born, does Ramadan start the next day regardless? Yes. So we don't look for the moon 2 days. So today's the 29th of Shaban, right? Tonight we're going to look for the moon. If we see the moon, tomorrow is first of Ramadan. If we don't see the moon, tomorrow is the 30th of Shaban, and the following day is the first of Ramadan. So yes, we don't look for it twice, we look for it once, and that's good enough. And if the month is 30 days, and the month before is 30 days, must the third month be 29 days? That's how it actually ends up happening, but we will not determine the month based on that. We determine it because the moon will be sighted because its birth in the previous 2 months happened the day before when it was sighted. So this time, the month on the day that it's born will be sighted easily, inshallah. So the month of the, okay, that's done there. Qasr was done. I think we covered the Qasr. Terminally ill was done. Making up your missed fasts, we talked about it. You make it up after Ramadan. You can make your Monday and Thursday fasts also a makeup from your Ramadan. We should prioritize making up our fast rather than just making additional fasts outside of Ramadan. What else is there? So, Sheikh, the making up of missed fast compared to the 6th of Shawwal. Did you cover that? So a person wants to make the 6th fast of Shawwal, and they also have fasts to make up. What should they do first? So it's okay to do the 6th of Shawwal and then continue with your makeup fast if you know that you will not be able to make up the fast that you missed in Ramadan and also complete the 6th of Shawwal due to health or inability or the time constraints. Then you could do your 6th of Shawwal first and then continue with your Ramadan fast. Mom is having a baby, that's done. Can we hang decorations up in Ramadan? I believe you should. And I'll tell you why. Because your kids are in a culture where everyone celebrates everything except Ramadan. Think about it. Every festival has signs and symbols and lights. I'm not saying we have to copy them, but there should be some level of acknowledgement of Ramadan and celebrating Eid. You get Eid decorations online, you get Eid balloons and stuff. What's wrong with having your kids carry an Eid Mubarak balloon or give it to their friends or an Eid card? These are simple things that should be in our culture only because the more we try to say, oh, this is bid'ah and this is haram and this is wrong, unfortunately, my experience has been the families who are super conservative and strict on these things, their kids do not follow that path. Our religion is a balance. What you may see as a determination for yourself may not be the reality for your child. So no one's saying to become super liberal and just kind of follow everything like the crescent tree. I have issues with this crescent tree. It's an abomination to the tree. It looks so bad. I don't know why people made that thing. So no, just you want to put some lights up in the house, some lanterns, put some du'as on, some banners that says Ramadan Mubarak, a Ramadan calendar that kids could puncture and pull out something from it every day. That's perfectly fine. I think we should look into those methods that will keep our children engaged also. The iftar in the masjid in the weekend, it's good family gathering and a social interaction. However, there's a lot of wastage of food and resources. Now, one thing I have to say. We waste more food in Ramadan than any other time. It's a shame. Remember, you were hungry for 14 hours, and now you're going to a buffet. You're piling your plate because you don't want to miss out on those, the steak or the halwa or whatever else. You don't want to miss out, so you want to take all of it in your plate. People hoard. We eat with our eyes. The day that our soul becomes alive is when we see, observe, and we make decisions from our heart. Remember, everyone, your stomach is the size of your fist. That's the size of your stomach. And tell me how 2 plates of food go into that. Could someone explain that to me? How do 2 plates of food, 3 cups of faluda, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of chai, and a pan go in that? Could you explain that to me? How does that happen? It's that small. Huh? So what happens is exactly that. The body has been spreading and spreading. Desires are opening. The needs have become wants. There's fast is restricting it. It's resetting you. Please don't take food you cannot eat. Remember, food that's written for you is going to come to your plate. The same Allah that determined that food for you before the crops were sown, the seeds were sown, or they were harvested, it was on your name. So it will come to you. If you come to the masjid and they give you a box, I don't know what the sequence is here, I've never been here for an iftar, but if they give you a box and you know I can't eat all that, and it's going to be hot, don't just take a bite and put it in your car and go home with it, because the chances are it's going to spoil because it's hot. And ultimately, you're going to throw in the garbage. Grab a brother, sisters grab a sister, sit down and say, let's eat together from this box. Let's finish this food off. And if we need more, we'll grab another box. But I think it's better to still be semi-hungry than to be super full and throw food in the garbage. In our masjid, we used to have an open buffet. People used to come in. I saw kids piling like a volcano on their plates, and they used double plates or triple plates to make sure that it's durable. And what happened was they would take a few bites and then put a tissue over it and throw in the garbage. So we have people serving now. We made our 12-inch plates into the 8-inch plates. You know what? That's enough. If you need more, come back around. Finish it off and come back. So, again, it's touching on the culture that we have in our societies. It's a very toxic culture. It's all about food. It's all about wasting. And think about it. If people say Ramadan is about sympathy and compassion and thinking how the poor people feel and feeding the poor, that's what we always talk to our co-workers and fellow employees and classmates, then why are you throwing food after 14 hours of fasting is a question we really need to figure out. The donation is done. Yes, you could cut your hair during fasting. Very good question there. What should we do if we do not remember how many fasts we need to make up? I love this question. Jazakumullah khair, whoever asked this. When you hear sajda tilawat, the Imam recites a verse, you have to make sajda. Yes or no? If you recited a verse, you need to make sajda, yes or no? Our Sheikh al-Hadith was telling us that it's so important that you need to make it up if you've never done it. The question is, I need to make up prayers in my life, I need to make up sajda, and I need to make up fast. I don't know how many. Give yourself 1 hour before Ramadan, sit down in your room, get a pen and a paper. So when I was like 15, I became baligh. I didn't pray for like 6 years. And then after that, before marriage here, there, maybe 8 years I didn't pray. Okay? Put down 8 years. This is your assumption. I heard the sajda tilawat, I read it so many times, maybe 40 times, I never made sajda. Write down 40. Fast. Every Ramadan I missed 1 or 2 since I was like 15. Let's say like I have 50 fasts to make up. Write down 50. This is your assumption based on your thinking process. I believe this is what it is. It's better to go that route than to say, well, Allah will forgive me. No. Make this paper. Why? Because the Sheikh said, if you die, and this is with your wasiyah, and you checked out 5 fasts and you left with 45, this could be compensated for you in this world and not tomorrow. Does that make sense? So now what you do, I have 6 years of prayers missed. What you do, inshallah, try to make a habit that with every prayer that you perform 1 more. Pray Fajr na Fajr, Dhuhr na Dhuhr, Asr na Asr, Maghrib na Maghrib, Isha na Isha. Some people say, no, I'm going to pray like 10 of them today. I promise you're going to burn out so fast that list will just go into the archives. It's not going to go anywhere. So what you do now is you make a list. You start checking off. For this year, I prayed one with one. So inshallah, 1 year of prayer is done. So you're doing your prayers and you're also making up your prayers. Inshallah, with time, Allah give us the life and the barakah in our time that we can make that up. Say amin, inshallah. Number 2, same with fast. Once a week. If you're doing a Monday and Thursday fast or you're doing a Muharram fast, whatever it is, just make up and check off. I did one. And same thing goes with Sajjat Tilawah. So make up a list and your assumption, inshallah, will be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on your intention, and we'll go from there. Yeah, sure, please.
Let me just answer this one. It says, if one is in the process of memorizing the Quran, can they continue practicing reciting during the menses period? So, if you were paying close attention to when I was talking about this, I said that it is not permissible for a menstruating woman to recite the Quran with her tongue according to the majority of the scholars. That's what I said. And there's a reason I said that. Because the Maliki school, the view of Imam Malik, is that it is permissible for a menstruating woman to recite the Quran with her tongue without touching the Mus'haf. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, Imam Malik also allows a menstruating woman to touch the Mus'haf if she is a student of the Quran or a teacher of the Quran. Okay? So to answer your question, my sister, if you are a student of the Quran, you are memorizing the Quran, then according to Imam Malik, who is a well-respected mujtahid Imam of the Sunni school of thought, of Ahl-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah, it is absolutely permissible for you to touch the Mus'haf and to recite the Quran with your tongue. If you want to follow that opinion, it is permissible for you to follow it. But if you want to hold on to your school of thought, whether you're Hanafi or Shafi'i, then in the Hanafi school and in the Shafi'i school, it is not permissible, even if you are memorizing the Quran, to recite with your tongue. Although, like I said previously, you can always recite in your heart and scan with your eyes without moving your tongue. That's permissible even in the Hanafi and the Shafi'i school. But like I said, the Maliki opinion is there for those who would like to avail it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
A few more questions here, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan for your time, everyone, and for these questions. I think the questions are the most important part of our discussions because they are personal and people can take those home and grasp them. Now, remember, Sheikh had explained who fasts and who doesn't fast. It's black and white. It's very clear. Now, the reason I'm saying that because a lot of people have these concerns. I'm working, my kids have finals, playing basketball for the team. Like, do I have to fast right now? Again, it's been very clearly articulated who fasts and who doesn't fast. If your life is threatened, if your health is threatened, Sheikh already explained all these things. But at the same time, as we look at our daily jobs and occupations to be strenuous, the whole purpose of Ramadan is for you to experience spiritual energy, spiritual power. I had a brother who converted. He came from Guam. He converted. He used to be a roofer and he fasted the whole Ramadan on the roof when he's doing work. He never once said to me, can I break my fast? Can I skip my fast in the heat of Florida? He's from Guam, he is a convert, and he fasted. One day I had to ask him, I say, bro, any day kind of hard on you? He's like, no, I drink Gatorade in the morning, I drink Gatorade, I'm good, fine, I'm good. We look at sports athletes and other people who have a strenuous regimen of practice and preparation. Our Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and the likes. There's so many of them. They fast and they pray and they play. It's like, it's not the end of your life. So if you feel, consult with a scholar based on your specific case. If you feel that your job or your education may be compromised because of fasting, then allow Sheikh to give you that fatwa, or Mufti Wasim, or someone to give you the fatwa. MashaAllah, we have great Sheikhs here. If you want to talk about Avengers, MashaAllah, the Sheikh will give you the fatwa. Everyone's having a watch party right now. So, there is something we'll find in the fiqh where your fast isn't supposed to make your life miserable. But if you don't experience the power of your soul in this month, you will not experience any other time. Moving on, we are allowed to include hadith or ayah when we offering food to non-Muslim neighbors in the spirit of Ramadan. If it's in English, something which is written is perfectly fine. And you put on something that hopefully they will keep, inshallah. If not, if they recycle it, that's perfectly fine also. If a person wants to use lip balm or moisturizer to avoid chafing or bleeding, this is also permissible. Can you recommend organizations to donate food to other countries? No, I can't. Yes, inshallah, we'll do that. Yeah, inshallah. Anyone, there's a brother who's asking or a sister who's asking to take the shahada. Inshallah, we'll finish in 5 minutes. And yes, they can take their shahada, inshallah. MashaAllah, beautiful. So, yes, I am not here to represent an organization or promote an organization. But I'll tell you one thing, because this brought up a question I had. Many of us love giving our zakat and sadaqah in Ramadan, right? Now, organizations will be coming here. And, they'll be asking for the blind, for the deaf, for the orphans, for the widowed, for the people under a tragedy in a certain land. And there's so many tragedies right now. I want to say two things about sadaqah and zakat. Number one, spread your sadaqah and zakat out. Spread it like butter on bread. If you give $1,000 in Ramadan, give 50, 100 throughout. Does that make sense? Allow your blessings to go everywhere. Help an orphan, help a widow, help someone in a flood zone in Africa or just hit by a cyclone or something. Help. Don't always stick to something like, I'm only going to do this. There's so many opportunities. Remember, it's Allah's blessing that He's granted those who have the opportunity to give. Because the people who don't have, Allah doesn't need us to help them. Allah can help them. Allah has given you the resources and made you a means to do so. And if you don't want to, Allah will give it to someone else. It's very simple. For Allah, it's not a hard thing. So number one, spread it out. Imagine everyone giving $10 even will help a lot of people. Number two, if there are individuals back home, and this is really a common thing that I'm concerned about. There are people that we know from our countries. We are born and raised with them. We know them personally. Family tragedy, someone died, they have a situation, so we constantly send our zakat to that one family. Now zakat, what is the purpose of zakat? To help someone out of a hole. Get them out of a hole so that they're giving zakat and you're also giving zakat. Someone who is in debt, someone who lost a family member, needs to, in America, someone needs help paying a medical bill. This is real stuff. If you help them through this tragedy, you'll be able to empower them to help someone else also. Zakat isn't meant to become the line of sustenance for a person. If you make people accustomed to taking your zakat year in, year out, two things will happen. Number one, you're going to spoil their habits and ways. Yes, there's a tragedy. Someone died. Give me a year to get through this and get on my feet. Yes, my wife died. My husband died. Give me a year to get on my feet. Help me. Yes, we will help. But to say, I can't do anything. I'm 45 years old. I can't do anything. I'm depressed. Please give me zakat. You're making that person's habit bad, and you're the cause of their bad habit. And number two, the abuse that comes with it. We call back home countries. Could you go check up on my house? They're not going to say no because you give them zakat. So you're basically employing them or using them for your personal needs, and they're not going to say no to you because they know what's at stake. Because if I don't do what you want me to do, then you might say, I'm not going to give you my zakat anymore. And I need those $2,000 every year, so I'll go do whatever you want. We need to stop this, because I'm a believer, and people disagree with me. I'm a believer that if every Muslim gave their 2.5%, we would have empowered the ummah enough that we would have been in an economic situation that we could have changed the world. But we have we have an influx of affluency, and we have a hole of poverty. The poor are getting poorer, and the rich are getting richer. And we're talking about 2.5% is your zakat. The church, Christians give 10%, and it goes from their paychecks. Before you get your paycheck, many churches pull the 10% from your paycheck. And it's not once, it's every time, every 2 weeks, every month. And here we're complaining, I give 2.5% zakat. SubhanAllah, 2.5% is to empower the Muslim ummah. And the other sadaqah, whatever you want to give to non-Muslims also. Zakat is for Muslims only. Sadaqah is for anyone. So again, stretch your sadaqah out, stretch your zakat out. Don't make people accustomed to you feeding them, because you're spoiling them. And number two, some people like that because they get the honor back. People will honor you. They'll kiss your hand. They'll hug you, because now you're feeding them. We don't need nothing. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. When we're giving it to you, it's for Allah. We're no one. We don't need any jaza from you, anything in return, nor do we want thanks and gratitude from you. So keep that in mind, inshallah. Is combining intention for the fast in the month of Shawwal and the reward of making up the fast permissible? Yes, you can do that. You can get your fast made up also. Combine it with the nafil fast, it's not a problem, inshallah. If I'm not comfortable having iftar outside due to time management to make it to Isha on a time, can I refuse invitation nicely? This is a beautiful question. Yes, you should. Because you need to create a culture where people understand you may say no and you're busy. We have to start creating that. And let me say first, I'm not going to anyone's house for iftar in Ramadan. I'm sorry. I've said it very nicely, inshallah. I am not going to anyone's house or anyone's dawat in Ramadan. I just declined at the church also. They're having an iftar. I said, sorry, Pastor, I cannot come. I have an obligation to fulfill. And he understood. But I've invited him to come to our iftar. And since he's not fasting, he will come and join us. But yes, you can decline, especially when what's important may be compromised due to it. The last question here is it okay to follow the translation in the phone during Tarawih prayer? I've seen several people look at their phone while praying Tarawih. Is that fine? Wa alaikum salam to that question. I'm going to say a part, and I would like Sheikh Arsalan to say his part, and then we'll ask the brother to take his shahada, and we'll conclude. Number one is, yes, it's like a nafil prayer. People want to hold their Quran. Let's talk about Quran. Some people are holding the mushaf and following the Imam. Now you're holding the mushaf, which is fine for you, but when you go in sajda and ruku, you're putting it on the floor. This is disrespectful. Right? Some people are holding the mushaf to follow. Some are holding to make sure that the hafiz really knows his stuff. Now, inshallah, that's our responsibility to make sure that they know their stuff, and we know they know their stuff, so you don't need to determine that. If you want to hold your phone according to Hanafi school of thought, it's not permissible. To hold or look at anything that may be resourceful for you in this regard, you cannot. The thing that I fear when people do that is the corrections that come in. If a person gives a correction to the Imam from reciting something that they looked at, and the Imam takes it, according to the Hanafi school of thought, the prayer is invalidated. And that's why we tell people, leave the Imam and the scholars here to fix things. Sometimes a mistake happens and they don't fix it deliberately. Why? Because they know the cycle that the brother is going in, he may be disrupted. Some hafiz can stop, take a correction, pull back and continue. Some can. So for that, they will be told at the second rak'ah. They'll be told after, and they'll make the correction in the next 2 rak'ah, or they'll make it tomorrow, depending on how severe that mistake is. So please, don't resort to other means. Just listen to the Quran. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Quran is being recited. Listen to it. I know most of us don't know Arabic. Only 18% of the Muslim Ummah is Arab. 18% of the entire Muslim Ummah is Arab. And even from the Arab, they'll tell you, my friend from Jordan, Jamal, used to always tell me, he said, you're so lucky that as an Imam, as a scholar, you know what the Quran says. I was born and raised in Jordan. I read the Quran, I don't know what it's saying to me, because it's more classical Arabic, and for him, he said, I don't understand. So even if we say 18% understand, the rest may not. Let's say 30% of the Ummah, because they learn Arabic, understand. It's not about understanding now. It's about listening. It's about absorbing. It's about feeling that Quran. So فَاسْتَمِعُوا, listen to it and be quiet. Don't move. Don't keep on flipping your pages. Don't distract the people next to you. Just listen to it so that the mercy of Allah can come down to us, inshallah. Sheikh, do you have anything to say on that one? That was the last question.
No, I just like to add that I completely agree with what Imam Azhar just said. My personal advice to you, don't do it. We had a seminar in this masjid a few months ago about communications. And the person who was an expert, he said there's no such thing as multitasking. There's no such thing as multitasking. You want to pray and worship your Lord in Taraweeh, or do you want to study the Quran and understand the Quran? You can't do both. If you want to sit down and study the Quran, sit down in the back, open up the translation of the Quran and read it and study it and reflect on it. Taraweeh is a time to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you don't understand what is being recited, you don't have to pray Taraweeh. As Imam Azhar said, it is a sunnah. If your heart is not into it, that's okay. Step away, sit down, open the Quran and read the Quran. But if you feel like you're into it and you like the recitation and you're feeling it, get up, join the Taraweeh and focus on who you are standing in front of. You're standing before your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think about your dhunub, think about your sins, think about Jannah. There's so much to think about and reflect on, even if you are not understanding what is being recited. So that's all I'll say. I gave a whole 30-minute talk on this last year after one of the Fajrs on the weekends. It's on YouTube. If you go back, you can see it. I talked about this issue and I gave some tips for those who do not understand the Quran, what to do, what to think about when you're standing in Taraweeh. So that's there last year on one of the weekends after Fajr Khatira for about 30 minutes. Wallahu ta'ala. We'll give it back to Imam Azhar.
Inshallah. So that said, brother wants to take Shahada, inshallah. So brother or sister, inshallah? Brother? MashaAllah, come on up, inshallah. Jazakum khair. Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, would you like to? Alaikum salam, brother. How you doing? There you go. Alhamdulillah. You want to have a seat? Please have a seat. Inshallah, come on, inshallah. Inshallah. Your name, brother?
Rashid.
Brother Rashid, alhamdulillah. So, mashallah, you're from the area?
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, alhamdulillah, mashallah. Welcome to our family, welcome to our community, inshallah. We'll talk a bit more in the office later, inshallah. So, inshallah, you had articulated that you wanted to take the Shahada and convert to Islam, inshallah. All I want to tell you is that this is a journey that you'll be embarking upon. It's a lifelong journey. No one is ahead, no one is behind. We're all traveling together, but just in different spaces. And inshallah, as you take the Shahada, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord Almighty, will ask the angels that all that has happened till now will be deleted. Inshallah. And it won't be in the trash can, it's gone. It's deleted. And from today, a new book, a new life begins, a life with responsibility, accountability. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see us make that effort towards that perfection. And inshallah, towards serving Him by acknowledging our purpose of existence, to make good on this earth, so that we can get good from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tomorrow, inshallah. And so long you're here, you are with us, you're part of our family, we welcome you and we embrace you, inshallah. Any questions?
No.
So I'm going to do a speed test. So I want to say some words in Arabic super fast. I always tell people, they get scared. I'm going to say it super fast and see how fast you can catch up. I actually had a brother take Shahada 2 weeks ago. I said it to him. He just looked at me. And it's like, okay, I said, maybe he never got the joke. I said, Bism. He said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I was like, okay, why don't you give me shahada? The guy knew everything, so I'm going to say a few words in Arabic, and inshallah you'll say it after me, and then we'll do the translation of it also. Ready? Okay.
Millah. Here. Rahman. Near. Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Ashhadu Allah ilaha illa lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I testify that there is none worthy of worship but Allah. And I testify that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is Allah's servant and Allah's messenger. I bring faith in Allah, on His angels, on His books, on His messengers, on the final day, and whatever good and bad happens through the will of Allah. And I believe in being resurrected after death.
Takbir. 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 MashaAllah. Well, that concludes our program, brothers and sisters. What a way to conclude our program, mashallah. Let us gear up for Ramadan, inshallah. And let me say one last thing before we leave. Ramadan is a month that if you're not doing good, don't do harm. If you're not praying, then let's not be talking and conversing. If you're not in the zone with what's happening, then step outside the masjid and talk. The rotunda, the hallways should be engaged in prayer, not talk. Alhamdulillah, we have more space now for the sisters upstairs also. The entire space is for prayer, not for discussions. So in the nighttime when people are praying, we are praying. When the speaker is speaking, we are listening. When the call of prayer is made, we're praying our sunnah. When it's time to read our Quran, we're reading our Quran. So keep the zone exclusively for that purpose, and let's not mix it up because it becomes difficult for others to do what they want to do. So inshallah, we look forward to a blessed Ramadan for all of us. May Allah allow us to see this blessed month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us entrance into this month with health, with strength, with faith, with courage, with determination. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to fast every day of this month and to wake up early and eat our suhoor in this month and to turn to Him and pray to Him in the mornings of this month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength and endurance through our soul during the course of the fast during the day. May Allah allow us to pray to Him before we break our fast. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to eat food and not to waste food. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to share our blessings and not hoard our blessings. May Allah allow us to complete the Quran with our eyes, with our tongue, and with our ears during this blessed month of Ramadan. Oh Allah, we ask you for the night of power. We ask you to give us the night of power in this blessed month of Ramadan. And oh Allah, we ask you, we beseech you to allow us to exit from this month as someone who has gained all the blessings, who has harnessed all the energy, and that is determined for the year forward to make another step towards you, oh Allah. Allah, give us an Eid that is an Eid of happiness and goodness. Protect us and our Muslim brothers and sisters and all the humanity from all the harms that are being perpetrated on this earth. Oh Allah, protect the places of worship. Protect the people who are worshipping in the places of worship. Oh Allah, make us one humanity that worship you and glorify you and thank you for your blessings and look out for one another in goodness and in kind heart. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خيرا.